Is connecting. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We are back live. This episode 9. They say most podcasts don't make it past 5. We are on 9. Are we finna hit double digits? So I thank everybody for showing up. I got two very special people in the house with me. My co-host, Dark Skin Terry, back from the streets once again.
Yes, sir.
And the first time guest, Brea Capriati is with us, and she's going to be obviously giving us her perspective on things, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you guys for taking the time. We're gonna kick it off and get right into it. Today we're gonna be diving deep. We're gonna be going into gender roles in 2024. And I think this is an important topic because times have changed so much, right? We all are. I know Terry is what 36. Bria, you
36,
are
30.
40.
30. Oh, youngin. Oh, you don't even remember the old days.
Damn, man, you 30, you the baby.
You don't even remember the old days, but at the same time, I know that you obviously have your experiences as well to go along with it. So, um, how do you guys think that times change and have changed gender roles? Like, what do you think is like one of the biggest things that have changed with gender roles between men and women in 2024?
Go ahead, Brent. That's all you, mama. It's your first one.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Absolutely. First
I think
always.
I think what has changed with gender roles especially is that there's more opportunity and access for women to take on different roles. And I'm going to specifically talk about like back in the day when it was like the 40s, 50s, 60s and the woman was the homemaker, the men went out and provided. A lot of that was because women didn't necessarily have the opportunity to get higher education or it wasn't the norm. Women actually couldn't apply for loans without a man's signature until like the late 80s or 90s, things like that. So I think access to those things, kind of crushing some stereotypes along the way, has allowed women to kind of change their roles if they want to. If being a homemaker fulfills them, then they can continue to do that. But also, it's more normalized now that they can go out and pursue education and a career.
That's true. That's very true. And we're gonna put a pin in that because there's some things that definitely need to be said about if money equals power in a relationship. But Terry, what do you got to say about it? Give us your two
I
cents.
mean, I pretty much agree with what she said. I mean, just it's a different time, different era now. Women have a bigger voice now. Also, that is something that's a lot different. Women's voice is a lot louder. Like it's a higher bark. I hate saying bark, but like it's just you hear women more now than you did before. Women before back then, you better shut the hell up. Some Ike and Tina shit. Like they knew not to talk. Like the men overpowered everything. Now we're in a day and age when it's just women got the same grind and hustle as a man does. Like some even more because like you got single moms out there. They got to do it on their own without men in the picture and all that, and they got one the five kids, like out here trying to grind for themselves, and so I just more than definitely I would say it's just the voice alone and the grind and the hustle women have to go through is a lot stronger now than before.
hmm Do you think that the access to, I guess you could say, upward mobility or even just opportunities now, do you think that that should have changed the role of women in a relationship or even men in a relationship? Like, yes, now women can go out and I can get along without my husband. Do you think that that should have changed the role of that women played in a relationship?
Are you saying it like back then
Well,
or
compared to back then, right? So, like Bria said, if a woman back then was a homemaker and she did these things, but now she has access to go out and make her own money, does that necessarily mean that the role at home changed?
Oh,
I mean, go ahead, Brea. Go ahead.
I think I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that just because that opportunity is available, that they should go out and pursue that and not be a homemaker?
No, I mean, like, so if you, let's say, if you're in the 1940s and you're a woman and you're taking care of the home, now it's 2024. Does that mean that you still can't take care of the home
Oh,
because you
no,
work?
that doesn't mean that at all. I feel like honestly, when it comes to, I don't necessarily like assigning gender to roles in relationships,
Yeah.
but I think what it comes down to is if two people in a relationship and one partner wants to be the homemaker and they have that opportunity because the other salary is good enough and that's what brings them fulfillment, by all means do that. If that's the woman, like by all means, if she wants to, be at home with the children and focus on being a mother because that's an incredibly hard task, then by all means, like she should do that. I don't think any situation or like gender role speaks for every role of how it should be. Everything is like so subjective to that one relationship. It's whatever
You got
works for those two people.
you got men out here that stay at home dads now too. I mean, like
My dad was.
yeah, like it's nothing wrong. I don't think nothing is wrong with it. I mean, it depends on the particular situation and how you run your relationship, how you run your ship, period. Like not everybody runs their ship the same. And hey, if that brings success and happiness to y'all, then fuck what everybody else think.
Yeah.
Everybody like, oh, you need to get a man that, is doing this for the household, doing that for the household. Listen, if you single, one reason you shouldn't be talking really. And like you shouldn't be going trying to interrupt what works for somebody else in their
No,
relationship.
that's
When you by yourself trying to figure out how to get you a man or keep a man or get a man that's not gonna treat you in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like no disrespect to women that are like that, but like, hey, if this is working for them, why would you want to come in and bring some negativity into what works for them?
yeah.
And all that. And that's the kind of stuff that I don't like when I see that. I'm like, hold on, chill. Like, get out of their business. Get out of what's making them happy. If that's what's working for them, like, go ahead, go take that negativity to somebody else that want to hear it.
I think you guys touched on this before, but you guys talked about partners finding like values. And I think that's important with gender roles. So, especially with religion, culture, if that is somebody's culture is where the woman stays home and provide and like does that, then they're going to want to find somebody who has that same value as them,
Yeah.
that believes in that same concept.
Yeah, and that's the same thing too, because there are women out there that want to keep that tradition, that just to be a stay-at-home woman, they want a man to do all, provide for them 100%. And which
Mhm.
again, there's nothing wrong with it, because there are men out there that want a woman just to stay home, cook, clean,
Mhm.
all that stuff. There is plenty of them. I know people like that, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it. But like, it's just we're in a world today where we have a lot of independent women that want to be independent. And like I said before, you got women that want to do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Whatever
Mhm.
works for you may not work for everybody else. But if y'all are grinding and happy, fuck everybody.
Mhm.
Do you feel like the person who is the breadwinner in the relationship holds the power in the relationship?
No, I mean, again, I sorry. I had to jump in front of you that one on
No, I'm
that.
glad you did. Take it away.
I don't think so, but again, it's all going to be according to how y'all run y'all operation. I mean, just because I make the most money doesn't mean I got power over you to say what we do and what we don't do, what we are going to do, where we're going to go. Like it shouldn't be that way. And if circumstances are the other way around, just because she makes way more money than I am, it shouldn't be like, oh, since I make the most money, what I say go. Like no, like then that's when you gonna fuck around and you're gonna find out what you don't want. That's when people start cheating and looking for other people that's gonna treat them better. Just because you make more money doesn't mean you get the power over me.
I definitely agree with that. However, I agree with that whoever's the breadwinner doesn't necessarily hold all the power. I will say though, I have seen in relationships where somebody has been the breadwinner and the other person hasn't worked and they did use finances as a way of control.
Yeah. People do that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel like there's always that exception, but I don't necessarily think that whoever makes all the money holds all the power or is the dominant person. Like my past experiences, I've been the breadwinner and I've came home and been like, I just did this 9 to 5 as independent, dominant. I don't want that anymore. Like I want you at home to you be the dominant one. I'm submissive now. Like I'm done with all that,
So does that mean like you don't, what does that look like to you? Like are you just like are you taking on a lesser role? Like how do you switch that up? Are you expecting that person to go?
How do you turn that off when you get home?
I would say how I turn that off when I get home is at work. I wouldn't necessarily say that I have to be challenging, but I have to be very vocal. I have to be very dominant in my position and what I stand on. I would say when I come home, I don't want to challenge things. If somebody tells me that this is how it's going to be or whatever, in like a healthy way, that's how it's going to be. Things like that. And also like catering to somebody, at work, usually, I don't want to say others cater to me, but like at home, I like catering to somebody else when I get home. That's how that looks.
A lot of people have a problem with turning that switch off, like when you get home. Like if you used to that power and you come home, you expecting like to give that power to somebody else. A lot of people can't do that. They struggle with that. And that causes, I've seen that cause problems in relationships and stuff too, because that person can't control that aspect because they're used to having to demand respect and be over so many people. It's like, dang, it's so challenging. And just like, you know what, I'm gonna turn it off now that I'm home. I'm gonna sit back and relax. No, you really don't. It's gonna come out regardless of how much you're saying that like you want to get home and be submissive and and be in your soft girl. Like it don't just turn off. Like there's gonna be those moments where you're like, okay, like, hey, come on, like. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you run your ship at home, Brea. I don't
in
know.
my home where I be.
Yeah, yeah.
Since you're in the house so much.
Yeah. She been out drinking. I ain't hearing that. But yeah, some. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Brea, what do you feel like it would take from a man to put you in what I know a lot of people like to call their feminine energy? What do you think it would take from a man to put you in that energy? What do you need to see from him?
I need to see that I'm going to be real honest, that he can put me in my place on certain things, or just like, I don't know, that he just like has this energy when he comes around me and I know to stand down a little bit, or that I trust that he has it, like, for example, I would say that is 100% something that I've worked on over the years, is being that independent person who's like, I don't need anybody. I can do this all on my own. Like, I don't even need you. So it's like, what space am I giving you to show me that I like need you or accept that? But I've dated some guys in the past, and it's like how they embrace a crowd with me, like grab my hand, lead me through the crowd. I've been in relationships where there's a sound in the middle of the night and that man is getting up and clearing the house. I've been in relationships where I've cleared the house.
Okay. I forgot
there is a difference, in men, and they can bring out different things in you. But yeah, I think it's like characteristics like that, where if I feel like I trust you and I can let that guard down and just like give you the wheel, I'm going to slide back a little bit and I'm going to be more soft and in that nature. But if I feel like, we're walking down the street and somebody approaches us and you're not going to be able to handle it, I'm not going to be able to be my soft girl era, because I'm going to be walking down the sidewalk scoping,
Run that purse and them pearls.
You don't want no softy there. You need somebody that's with the shit like you with the shit.
I need somebody that I feel like, all right, I can turn off like my awareness, my brain, and just like I trust you.
Terry, what do you think? The flip side of that is, what do you think you need to see from a woman that you think would allow you to to be your masculine self?
Oh man, I mean, I really don't know. I don't think I was ready for that question. I was so focused on what she was saying, I wasn't even thinking about myself. I don't know, man. I mean, just let me be me, just more than anything. And like you both know, I've talked to you both about, things that I've went through and different experiences where I wasn't as masculine as I should have been in relationships. Money is putting that aside. There's other things that men can do to provide that, masculinity and all of that, that we don't always do. So that is something that, I continue working on, but having that support, more than anything, I would say having that support from your person to allow you to be able to do those things, to be, masculine and all that, be that dominant man. Some women don't necessarily want that, again, like we were saying, Bria,
Mhm.
women are stronger now, so they're so used to having to be that strong one. So when you're talking about giving that up to that person to let them, be that, strong masculine man, it's hard for a lot of women in today's world. So it's like that's where I was saying, where is that switch for a woman? Can you really just turn it off when you had to be so strong and hard at all times? How do you necessarily turn that off when through your marriage or relationships, men haven't came in and brought that? And, I'm not saying that I haven't always. There's times that I have, and there's times when I haven't. Obviously, I don't feel like anybody would ever have to worry about us walking down the street and you got to be the one to boss up. Listen, this ammo right here is equipped. It's ready for whatever. But just let me show some support for me to express that masculine side of myself, and I feel like everything else will just show when it's needed.
I think it's
Yeah.
hard, like David, when you ask me that question, I think it's hard for me to put into terms like defining masculinity. Like I feel like you guys would be more of the expert on that than anything of like, how do you guys define that?
But don't you don't look at guys and obviously this from a male perspective. Um, you can obviously give us those tidbits from a female perspective, and so like when you look at a guy, let's say you're looking at two dudes, right? Let's say you're in the gym, you're looking
Yeah,
at
you're
two
looking
dudes.
at two dudes right now on the screen.
You're looking at two dudes right now on the screen. Do you look at a guy and say, nah, he's not that masculine? And you look at the other guy and say, he's exuding masculinity, right? Like, does
I,
that thought cross your mind?
I see what you're saying.
She's like, Terry's soft.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Again, I think that can also be like a subjective opinion too of just like how people define that. I mean, I guess I will say, and maybe I use this ratio too much, but I look at people and I'm like, do I think that they could defend me, or could I beat them up? As if I feel like I could beat them up. I'm not saying I ever do that.
You ain't beating me up.
I'm just saying that, I'll be like, I'm like, oh, he's too small for me. Like, yeah, or things like that. But I don't know. I guess when I like see guys, like I see masculinity in a different way, basically, than just overall physical appearances. Because somebody could be in the gym, I mean, jacked. And when it comes down to it and shit hits the fan, they could be the first one running.
Salt. Poo put. Niggas is gone.
Yeah. So it's like I can't, immediately make that decision based on appearances.
Appearance is a killer. You motherfuckers look like killers, but be cotton soft. Charmin.
Mm-hmm. Or I've seen tiny dudes. They know some of that jujitsu.
Yeah, them things.
Yeah.
Geneva said, yeah, but there's some masculinity that is not wanted.
What that look like? What that look like, G?
I feel like that's like more like certain aspects of hyper masculinity, right? Like being overly aggressive. Like you walking past a dude and he grabbed you by your elbow. You, Terry, I'm sure you'd have done that before where a girl walked by you, grab by
Like, who the fuck grabbing me like that? Oh, okay, what's up, bro? Like, or you got, like you said, you got dudes that be walking around like, why that nigga looking at me like that? He keep looking at me like that, nigga. We're going to blah blah blah. Like, damn, chill, my nigga. He might have been just thought he knew you. Like,
I mean, I can't speak for men on this, but I feel like there are some men out there that confuse aggression for masculinity or being aggressive, and really you're just being an asshole is what you're being.
Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah. And I think that going back to what you said earlier, Brea, one of the things that you said sparked another thought in my mind when you talked about like being able to let go when you get home. Another thing that makes that difficult is, you obviously you have your professional life, but then you also have an emotional life as well. And I think that the more scars you have from your emotional life, that makes it also very difficult to let your guard down. So I think that, and just from speaking on my own experience, I think when you come home, it's easy to kind of turn that off. But then you got to deal with the emotional stuff and be able to turn that off as well to fully immerse yourself and be like, I want to detach and let this person take the wheel. And by that time, it might be 9:30 at night, and now it's time to go to bed. So it's like you have your emotional scars are just as important and probably harder to put at ease or disassociate yourself with. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of trust to do that too. But I know Terry could probably attest to this. Like when you meet a woman and you're asking her about her past, like talking about her past relationships, and you're seeing the things that she's been through, it explains why she is the way that she is. But you at the same time know that you didn't do those things. And so you still want to be in a situation where you have an opportunity to kind of step into that role.
Yeah, step into it without feeling like you got to pay for what somebody else did. Like that should be hard. Like, hey, it ain't my fault. Your, ex-husband doesn't take care of his kids, or he abused you and all of that stuff. Like, I mean, no woman should be abused. Let me just start there. But that's not something I did to you. So I definitely feel like a lot of women do throw a lot of that stuff on you. And I can say that I have too as a man on myself, like things that I've went through with exes and my son's mom, triggers as we've talked about before. They're, you don't mean like that when you hear something, it triggers you. It's not like you were like planning on hearing that. Like it just happened to happen, and you may snap in a way or get angry in a way. You're not trying to throw that on that person like they did something wrong, but it was like that particular phrase or word brought you back into a place where you were vulnerable again. And that's, something that, it happens. But if you communicate like, hey, this is something, a lot of people can't communicate. So, if that was that was something said to you, don't get mad at that person right away. Explain to them why that particular phrase or word or something they did irks you or hurts you and all that. And that's what, again, communication. Bang.
Yeah, I would, to what you were saying at the beginning about the transition coming home, being in that dominant role professionally, switching up to the emotional. I will 100% agree with you that is hard. And that was something that I really had to work on because I wasn't always like that, where I could come home and like want that, especially going back to gender roles growing up. My mother was the breadwinner. My dad had more of an entrepreneur, but was like the caretaker. And when she came home, she never took off that cape. Like she was the authoritative parent. She did the punishment. She ran the household. She ran the finances, like everything. Like she did it all.
And is that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is that something that your dad was comfortable with?
I would say, for the most part, Yes and no. I do think that played a role in their separation for sure, because I wouldn't say that she didn't allow him to be a man, because my dad was still a manly man. Like, we rebuilt cars together, we raced cars, he did all of the things. He looked like a manly man. It wasn't, you would see him and never guess who I was talking about. But no, it definitely led to issues. But when it came to parenting, he had a different parenting aspect. She was very corporal punishment, and he was very like communicate with the children, and things of that nature. So they just had their differences. But being raised by her, instilling like, I can be independent, I can do this, like, it was hard to work that out of my values. Those aren't my values anymore. But I took after her in that regard.
Okay, so what's up?
Geneva said, David called me out on our second or third date and said, let me be a man, when I was arguing about trying to pay for takeout. That caught me off guard.
I've heard that.
Yeah, that 100% happened, because I remember we were sitting on the couch and we was ordering some takeout, and she was like, oh, I got it. And I was like, no, let me get it. She was like, no, I got it. I said, let me be a man. Now, I was joking. It was like 75% joke, 25%, nah, let me pay for it. And it's kind of been a running joke like this entire time, right? But there's some truth to that, because I think that most men, if not the majority, but most men want to do that. And sometimes when you're not in a position to do that, it affects how you feel and how you behave in your relationship.
Yeah.
But I think that I still don't think that means that those men don't want to do those things. They just physically can't. Like, if every man wants to be like, pack your bags, we going to Greece tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Every man want to be able to do that, and some can. But I think when you're in a situation where you're dating somebody, you're getting to know that person, you would at least want to establish that here are the things that I want to do. Here's the things that I'm trying to do. Here's what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if that person like it, then the relationship continues. If they don't, there's like, they
Would
might
you
push
say
you to the
that
wayside.
the man paying for things is a gender role?
It's interesting, because I had a post on my Facebook, I think maybe like last week, where I talked about men pumping the gas. And I said, what do we think about women pumping gas while there's a man in the car? And it went back and forth, and everybody kind of had a good time with it, and it was on fire for a while. But one lady commented on it today, and she said, my husband just bought me a 2025 car, and he's about to pay it off. He's a great catch. And when he's in the car with me, he will pump the gas. But I'm perfectly fine pumping my own gas. And so I said, him buying you a car is not an example of chivalry. Him pumping your gas is an example of chivalry, because he don't want you to get your hands dirty. He don't want your hands to smell like gasoline. Mm-hmm. Him buying you a car, he just did it because he had the means to do it. That's not necessarily chivalrous, right?
It's not saying he buying you, but that ain't something that's
he doing something nice for you. That's not an example of chivalry. But pumping gas for a woman so she doesn't have to get her hands dirty, that's an example of chivalry. And that's kind of what the question was leaning more towards. So do I think that men should pay for things as part of a gender role? Yeah, I do, when they're able to. And what I mean by that is, like, if we're going out to dinner, like, I think the man should want to pay, right?
Yeah.
He should want to pay. Now, whether the woman lets him pay every time, that's up to her.
Or if he's financially able to. Yeah.
If he's not financially able to. Now, that don't mean that you're going out to what is this
Ocean
Steak
44.
Steak 44, Ocean 44. You may not be doing that every time. Sometimes you go to Chili, sometimes you go to Mastro's. Like
Yeah.
it's a mix, right? But
Yeah.
I think that he wants to be able to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what his role is, the want and desire to be able to do those things. Now, does that mean that he's always going to pay for everything? No, I don't think so.
No.
But if you're with a man and you feel like he doesn't want to do those things, then that's just not his role.
He looking for a motherfucker to pay for everything. And there's a lot of niggas out there that rather sit back and let a woman pay for everything and keep living their lives buying other shit that they don't need to buy.
Mm-hmm.
But they can be, you know, being a man and being responsible of helping, you know. Obviously, like we said before, some women are in a better position financially to pay for stuff, but I couldn't let a woman pay for everything, like
Mhm.
every dinner we have and every like, damn, it gets to a point like wait a minute, like what am I doing here? Like what I'm preaching about what other dudes is doing, I'm out here doing it. You know,
Right.
you know, just got to be better about it. And I was reading what David said about in North Carolina, every man pays for everything. That's cap. I know that's cap. You can't tell me in one state every dude pays
Yeah.
for everything. That's maybe the dudes he knows. Or they may be tapping too. It might be just an image like they pay for everything. But I don't think in no particular state. I mean, you know, maybe in like that. What's that country that got all the bread? uh,
Dubai.
Dubai, you know, them motherfuckers got money. Like, now they for sure paying for everything. Like, but I don't think there's a state where every man is paying for everything. That's just my opinion. But okay, there we go. Majority. There we go. So like, let's switch that up a little bit because every man is kind of diabolical. That ain't happening.
Geneva said, because I was so used to being assertive and arguing with something as simple as that about who was going to whip their card out and pay.
I was going to say, to G's original message, I think she brings up a valid point because that has been something that I've heard from a man before. And I think I approached paying for things differently. Like if I went out with somebody and then we went out again, I would try and get the next round of drinks or something, because where I'm coming from is, since I have worked all my life, I understand what it takes to earn that dollar. So I want to return the favor and respect of, like, you work hard for your money, I work hard for mine. Let me also like contribute. But some men have gotten so offended when I have tried. That was something that, like, it took me off guard. So offended.
Especially on the first dates too. Like, I mean, like, damn, like, I mean, we sat at the bar and had a drink, and you would put in your card. I'm like, put that shit away. Like, I got this one. Like, man,
And I was like, I'll
give me some credit.
like, I ain't no bum now. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm like, I buy the first one. Like, this ain't nothing. Like, I got this. You know. Now you talking about Ocean 44 every time. Like, Brea, pull that card out.
Which I did buy a man dinner at Ocean 44 once. I will be honest.
Nah, I mean, but again, like I said, this is where you come into knowing your personnel, knowing who you're involved with, knowing what they're used to, as in men doing in their lives. If you can't come in and give that, you're not going to be able to continue with them, because they always going to be like, this nigga, like in their head, like, it ain't going to happen. So that's why you got to know who you're dealing with. And so, like, dealing with someone like you, like you're saying, you're okay with, paying for something, here and there. But if it gets to a point where you're just paying for everything, it's like, damn, I'd rather be by myself than having to take care of, like, like he's your child and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about situations where you have obviously you have a couple, they have a household that they're trying to maintain together, Terry, we're gonna put Terry in this situation. Do you think that if, let's say, you were dating a woman who made whatever 250 grand, and she was like, you don't have to work, stay home, take care of the house, that's gonna be your role, do you think you'd be comfortable with that?
Shit, no. Because I'm a bitch now.
He said, now I gotta give it up. I
ain't no white bitch come home like, here you go, honey. Like, hell no. Ain't nobody gonna punk me out like that. Like, what I look like? Boo the fool? Hell no. Like, it's like, hey, I'm proud that, to have a woman that makes really good, money and all that. But, like, I hate
hold on. So staying at home and assuming those responsibilities makes you a bitch or makes you a woman?
I mean, it made me feel like it. I don't know about. I can't speak for other niggas because there's other niggas out there like they on the Xbox, playing Call of Duty and shit, like they didn't give it a fuck. Like, yeah, she'll be home in a little bit. She at work. Niggas is like, do you ever work? Nah, she work. I just be chilling. Like that. At some point in that, I got a feeling like that woman will cheat. Like that's just. I'm not saying that it happened. That's what's going to happen. Because if that's what y'all signed up for, if that's what she spoke on, saying, no, this is what I want, like, I mean, it's different, but like, how long, like, can somebody really truly maintain that? Like, I couldn't, I personally.
To be devil's advocate, women will maintain that role their whole lives that do that. So are you saying that's a lesser than role or responsibility?
I just personally couldn't.
You acting like it's.
I got you because you said it's a bitch move.
To me, I just feel like it's whack as a man. Like, damn, like, do y'all got kids? Is it no kids? Like, what's the situation? Like,
I think you do believe in gender roles a little bit more specifically than you're saying.
Get your ass in there and do them dishes. Hey, all right, yeah, you better. Hey, listen, that house better be clean when she get back, or she's going to end on you. Like I said, yes, I do believe that. Like I'm not sitting here saying that like people can be 50-50, whatever we talked about, 50-50. But just to say that I am flat out not going to work. Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't do it. I at least got to try to bring something to the house, like.
Do you feel like you could? Do you feel like you can make up the difference in effort? Not work, not bring in no money, but supplement the difference with effort in the household and the relationship.
Yes. Yes, I'll say yes on it. Again, I still am in the mindset I couldn't do it, but for let me just go a different way with this. My last situation made more money than I did. I paid less money in the house than what she did. She pretty much paid 90% of everything. Let's just go there. What she wanted
for that? How did you compensate for that?
That's where the problem was at. I didn't do enough when he's talking about the effort part to compensate for that. I didn't do enough of compensating for that in her eyes. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was doing, at that particular time, I felt like I was doing enough to be like, hey, like I'm doing what I can too, but when I think about it now, I could have put in more effort to compensate for what she was doing money wise and everything else wise in the house. So that part.
Geneva says, so you're saying women don't bring anything to the house if they are stay-at-home moms, or just you?
No, that's just me. Like, that's just me.
He said, no, I just did.
No, I'm not knocking no woman that's a stay. I just think it's a little different when it's a man. But for women, I mean, like we said before, there's going to be women that are stay-at-home moms, and there will continuous through time be women that are stay-at-home moms. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, how you run your shift It's how you run your ship. And
I think it's individually, how, not to cut you off, how people get fulfillment. You need to contribute for fulfillment. That's what you were saying.
yeah.
But, some women, like, that is how they feel fulfilled, is they know that they are doing the work in the household, raising the kids, which is no easy task. I cannot harp on that enough. I don't have what it takes to be a mother. I'll be 100% honest. That's why I don't have kids. But, that's how some women get fulfillment.
And Geneva, when I say 90%, that's a conversation I'll have to go into like deeper. I'm not about to put all my business out, like on why this was. I'm not trying to bring in her situation and stuff like that into this podcast and all that stuff. So that's a conversation we'll have off of here. But
that'll be for the members only section when we kick that off.
Members only, yes. But she was in a better blessed position than I was. So, and I had other stuff going on in my life too, whatever. But yes, save that conversation for a later time with just us, not the world.
And I just want to say, everybody, like, subscribe, share the link, like it, subscribe it, hit the alerts.
Yeah.
I'm interested, David, not to dive into so much your situation, but you guys both work. What's that conversation like of splitting up household chores, both being contributing adults?
It's funny because when it all really happened really fast, and if I told you how fast it happened, y'all wouldn't believe me. But when we had the conversation about who was gonna do what, she basically was like, "What type of stuff do you not like to do?" And I said, "I hate folding clothes." I was like, "I will do everything else in the house. I do not like folding clothes." And she was like, "Oh, I love it. Perfect." Right? So it fit in that aspect. And in our relationship, we both contribute to the household, but I don't look at it as like a contribution. I look at it as these are the things that I was doing anyway because I had my own household before I moved.
Yeah.
So walking the dog, making dinner, making breakfast, making lunch, sweeping, mopping, cleaning, doing the dishes, out the dishwasher, all that stuff I was already doing on my own. So I don't look at it as like this is my contribution because I would have to do that anyway. But at the same time, because of the hours that Geneva works, I know that it takes a lot of stuff off of her plate. So she don't have to get up any earlier to walk the dog. She don't have to really stress out when she come home and to make dinner or anything like that because it's already made. I do most of the grocery shopping, so I already know the stuff that we need, and she don't have to sit here and go down the grocery list and figure out what we need. So it's the things that I already do for myself. Now I just add a couple more things in the basket because it's another person. So I think for us, it just fit really well. And I think that's why it moved as fast as it did because it just fit really well. In her prior relationships, I think for her, it was very different because I think she felt like she had to do a lot more. She said, he cooks a lot. I hate cooking. I order out to give him breaks. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But but the thing is that I think for her in prior relationships that she was in, I feel like she felt like she had to do a lot. And in this relationship, she doesn't have to do those same types of things because I'm very diligent in the things I do. Now, there might be a day where, like she just said, like, I don't feel like cooking today. Or I got busy and I didn't have time and I couldn't get to it. Or, something of that nature. But like I said, I don't look at it as like my contribution to the relationship because I would have to already do it anyway. So I think at the end of the day, when both of you guys said, like, you got to find somebody whose values match your values, the things that you find important. You want to find somebody else who finds those same things important. And I don't necessarily mean it has to be like 100%, 100%. She folding clothes right now in the back as we speak. So you don't have to be 100%, 100%. And I think a lot of it also comes from understanding what the person you're with has gone through and how your life benefits them. Because now I will say this, I do feel like when you're in a relationship, if you're not making the other person's life better, then what's the point? Now that doesn't mean that you taking them from 50 grand to 100 grand. It don't mean that you moving them from Central Phoenix to Scottsdale. But if you're not improving their life, if you're not helping them, if you're not making their life better in some way, then what's the point? And as a man, I feel like we have an innate compulsion to want to help, to want to do certain things. I remember seeing, and I believe this was on Kevin Samuel's podcast. He said, if a man gets into a relationship with a woman, he takes away stress, he takes away issues with security, he takes away trouble parenting with her kids, he takes away issues with income, all these things. When he leaves, she's still gonna have them same problems. So if you come into a woman's life, there's things that you can do to alleviate her situation. As a man, it's not the same way.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Kevin Samuels was saying. As a man, it's not the same way, right? Because if a woman comes into your life now in 2024, she says, "Well, I cook and clean." As a man, you're like, "I cook and clean. I have my own place. I cook and clean." She say, "I'm gonna fold the clothes and do the dishes." I do that, So it's the if you have to call it a contribution, but what you bring to the relationship as a man, what you bring to a woman's life is different than what a woman brings to a man's life. I think those two things are very, very different.
Similar but different.
Interesting.
Neva said, "Wait, didn't I say that 3 episodes ago and you said no about having the same values?" Oh, values, yes, but it's not, like I said, it's not going to be 100% match. Like,
yeah,
your significant other could care a lot about politics and you could not care. That don't mean that y'all not going to be a great couple. Y'all just not passionate about politics together.
Yeah. I think, but like core values, especially with what we're talking about gender roles and how you're saying, if one woman comes to a relationship, she's like, I want to be a stay-at-home and I want to cook and clean. And the guy's like, that's not what I'm looking for, or whatever. Like, that's not going to work out. Another person's passing.
There you laughing. David said, "Are you responsible for helping heal the other person's past issues?"
That's what therapy is for. Go to therapy, people.
Therapy is, you can help in a certain way, but I don't think that you can truly help heal that person because that stuff is in there and they have to go through it and get past it themselves.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, you can help, you almost is like covering it up more than healing it. Like, I'm trying to think of how to say it because I've seen somebody say what was the post, David, about the healer thing? I can't remember it exactly, but like, I just feel like you're just covering up. You're helping put a shell over it, but at any moment that shell can shatter and that shit is right back out of there because that person themselves haven't put in the work to put that past. I'm not saying that you can ever forget it, but you can get past it and move on from it.
Yeah, you guys kind of touched on this last week a little bit, and I liked the direction you were going of it's okay. Somebody mentioned that they don't share their past relationships because they felt it gave the keys to the other person of how to treat them.
Shar said that. She was like, I don't tell my past to nobody.
And I kind of disagree with that in the sense of I don't need to vomit every trauma that I've been through, but I need to discuss some so that the next person knows what might be not necessarily triggering to me, but what would make me feel so safe or secure in this relationship.
Absolutely.
You know, if you operate this way because of, you know, how I feel about certain things, like that's going to make me feel safe and secure.
But see, I think that where I would disagree with that, not disagree, but what I would say that I want to add to that is I want to know everything.
Yeah,
I
you,
agree with you, but some
with
people
the
don't.
exception
you
with
really
the
don't ever
exception of
know.
body count, I don't really need to know your body count. But with the exception of that, I want to know everything. And the
Yeah.
reason for that is because I'm not a malicious person, so you're not gonna give me the keys to the kingdom and I'm gonna abuse you with it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I want to know everything because it goes into what made you.
Mhm.
I want to understand you, and how we interact depends on that. Because you could say, well, your ex-boyfriend would always come home late when he was out with his friends, and that was a huge pet peeve for you. That's pretty general, right? He would come in at 3-4 o'clock in the morning and it bothered you. But what you're not telling me is why he would rather stay out than come home.
Yeah.
I want to know both. I want to know everything, so that if you're like, well, I was not affectionate to him, so he would stay out with his friends as long as he could. I would rather hear that story.
Mhm.
So that way
Yeah,
I
but how many
know,
women are
okay, you're
actually
not an
telling that?
affectionate person,
How many
generally.
people are telling that story though?
Somebody might.
A lot of people don't tell that part. They
I was
only
You
gonna
gotta tell it.
they only telling a part that makes them look good, but not really holding themselves accountable
Mhm.
for what part they played in all of that.
Yeah. Bria,
And,
what
and,
were you saying?
and to say like you want to know everything, like it's hard to talk about everything, and you know some stuff just come, you know, when you think of it, it comes out at a particular time.
Mhm.
Like it surfaces at a particular time. It's not all. I can't sit here and tell you all my past right now, every single thing that I went through and what cause and effects. I can't. But in situations, it might be a moment that I'm like thinking about it, and during a conversation we're having, and I'm able to be like, oh, so this is what happened at this particular time. The reason this came about is she felt like that I wasn't doing so and so, you know, or you know, I felt like she wasn't doing so and so for that particular situation. So to say everything, it's hard to just throw everything all out at once.
I think what I'm like you, David. I want to know too, because not necessarily in a bad way, but I'm an analyzer and I want to understand people, and so that I know that I'm operating in a way that makes my partner feel okay, and I know, you know, I'm doing right by them. But where I've experienced somebody of being like, tell me everything or this, that, and the other, wanting to get every depth of me, and somebody could argue that they just might not be my person or whatever. But I've had a lot of people be like, that's a lot of shit that has happened to you. That's a
He said,
lot of
damn,
shit.
hold on. We didn't say go. Take me to the basement, not 3 levels down.
Yeah, no, like, you know, we're almost like that's too much. You know, they're almost like, this is heavy, and I'm just like, you know, so that's why I'm kind of move cautious about opening up my whole story to people, is because some things are heavy, and some people are just like, yo, you need an advisory before you tell that story.
Mhm.
So like, where
but
do
I,
you draw that line? You know?
but I think that a lot of our hesitation about telling people everything is we don't know how they're going to take it. And Terry, I know that we talked about this on another episode where we said men will open up where they feel safe, right? Kind of like a flower, right? Like if it's crowded with other plants, that's why when they say plant it, you're supposed to plant it 12 to 18 inches from away from another seed so it can
Yeah.
open up, right? It's the same thing within a relationship. Like if men don't feel safe to open up to you, then you're only going to get tidbits here and there, right?
And maybe they're not the one then too. Like, you know, when you can open up to somebody just on a natural conversation and let that stuff out, like it's a different type of like love and affection for that person. I haven't been able to I'm not saying I haven't loved my previous exes, but you know, certain exes I wasn't able to open up the way I was able to open up to a later ex, and that can be just maybe than just me, not necessarily them, but I feel like now, like I was saying, I'm in a different position now. I can open up more, but some people don't have that though, that they can open up to that person and let that person in the way they want to. And is it something that you just is it the person's fault, or is it the person that you're talking to, or you know, in a relationship with, you're not feeling like you're able to do that with?
I think it's a fear. I think with people, it's a fear of being judged for what they're about to share.
Okay.
They've already gone through it, however many years ago that it was. Um, in their mind, I've already made peace with it, but I don't know how you gonna feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I had a criminal record, if I said, you know, I did, you know, 3 years in jail for Grand Theft Auto, and that was my past, I don't know how the next girl's gonna feel about that. I
Yes.
remember we were talking about, me and Geneva was talking about the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. And a girl had put in there that this guy came out and told her in the first couple messages, he was like, I just want to let you know that I've been to jail. I have a criminal record, yada, yada, yada. But I like you and I would like to see you. I was like, he honest. He telling you 100%.
I need to know the charges, but like
Yeah,
respect.
yeah, you gotta know your.
I mean, what are we talking here? Like, you know.
I mean, a lot of women. This is off subject, but a lot of women should probably be doing research on the dudes that they talk to anyway. Like,
They do. They have that
I
whole.
mean, both men and women.
no, not the Facebook group stuff.
Okay.
Like
I don't have Facebook, so I don't know any of that.
Yeah, I'm talking about like there's motherfuckers out here like not to bring my business to the world, not nothing I did, but my baby mother, my son's mom, she was dating a guy that, you know, had an abusive past. And this is, you know, it wasn't, only reason we found out about all this stuff is because I had, you know, somebody run a background check on me. I'm like, I need to know what's up with this nigga. Like, come to find out, bro, got a whole rap sheet of abuse. Like this is a nigga you got around my kid. Like, I was like, no, this ain't gonna work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and it took me to present that stuff to her, sending her this whole file on Buddy. Like this is the nigga that you got around our son. Like, you see why you're going through what you're going through. You're not the first.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, that Facebook group do expose a lot of that stuff, but still, like, you don't know. Like, these people don't really know for the most part. A lot of women on there be capping anyway. But
no, to go back to the example that David brought up, like I think if somebody was very upfront about that, like I got my past, I got things like that. You brought that to my attention up early on. I respect that. That's going to go a long way with me. Now, again, we got to get into them charges, but
yeah, you got to talk about them. They got them charges. Got to be told.
What were the charges, and do you need a lawyer?
Like, you find out later, you're gonna be pissed about it.
Geneva, put in the chat what the charges was. I think Geneva know what the charges was, but
nigga just got 3 weeks ago. It's crazy.
Nah, it wasn't even nothing crazy. It was like robbery or home.
I mean,
something
nigga,
like
robbery.
It wasn't like murder or nothing like that.
Nigga, robbery is something.
I mean,
you
things matter.
A pack of gum or something like from Circle K, like I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's still whack as a grown man. If you rob it as a grown man, like what are we doing here?
Times are tough out here.
Times are tough, but you made it my life though. Like, if you can rob something for something, like, come on, you can do better. You shouldn't be like. I had a young past, and I used to like steal stuff, but I was young and dumb. Like, now I'm 36 years old. If I'm robbing motherfuckers still, like, then like there's something, I don't give a damn if it was a pack of gum. Like, it's, like why you gotta steal that gum?
I think follow-up questions are warranted. You know, if somebody opens that communication, I'm allowed a few follow-up questions. How recently? exactly. You know, yeah. What was the severity of the crime? How much time did you do? Like, you know, things along those lines. Like, how's our transition back into society going?
Yeah.
David said he's probably seeking acceptance and wants to get that out of the way early. 100%. He don't want nothing to come out later.
Yeah.
Like
You're
Geneva
just
said,
like, oh, I wish you had told me that.
Geneva said armed robbery. Yeah, ain't next. That nigga gotta go. Ain't no explanation behind it.
Yeah, that's what you said, Robert. I said armed robbery. As soon as I hear that armed.
Yeah, armed robbery is crazy, brother. You gotta go.
Blessings, but be on your way.
You know, I'm a new man. I got out. That nigga waiting to get somebody next again.
So then, do you feel like when we're talking about how everything that we've discussed plays into gender roles for men and women, like what type of things do you feel like as a woman, Brea, this is for you. What type of things do you feel like as a woman either accentuate who you want to be in a relationship? And I'm not just talking about like on the feminine side. It's just like your identity of yourself, right? What type of things in a relationship do you feel like accentuate who you want to be versus picturing yourself in a relationship with a man who's like, I hear you want to do this XYZ, yada yada yada, this what I want to do, and I feel like this is the route that we should go. How do you reconcile that with yourself? Because this is 2024, you are a professional woman, you got a job, you got military service in the past, like you have done a lot, and you want to contribute what you want to contribute to a relationship. But if you met a man who was like, nah, you're not going to do none of that, this is what we're going to do, and you liked him, how do you reconcile that, like, inside of yourself? Like, is it easier if he's attractive, and if he ugly, you like, nah, that we're not doing that?
I mean, how deep are you in the relationship?
I mean, well, first things first, if he's presenting that to me, and then I know internally, automatically, he really feels some type of way about something. Like whatever that subject is, or that he's like, it's going to be like this, I'm going to get to the root of like, why are we feeling so strongly about this? But also at the same time, in a more general aspect, like I'm a woman of compromise. I will meet anybody in the middle, or I will talk through some things, but I'm going to reference a podcast a while ago. And I'm going to bring up an example of, I have had men straight up tell me that they don't want me to have guy friends. That is like
that's off limits. That's
that's off limits. But then it's like, I approach that situation. I'm like, but you don't understand. I was in the military for 7 years, and on my deployments, I'm one of 50 guys. Like my entire career field, these are my guys, you know, like these are my friends. Like, how do I cut off 13-year relationships because you don't want me to have friendships?
Are we still talking about the same guys we were
going on drinks with?
They still my homies back in the Midwest. Like, the guys that I deployed with, like they still my homies. But so that's a tough conversation, and that's hard. And honestly, I haven't had anybody give me a complete ultimatum where it's them or the relationship. But I have been willing to talk through things of like, I will communicate less with them. The only time that if I see them in person, you'll be there, like things like that. But I don't know. That's hard. I'm all about middle, compromising in things. I think everything can be talked about or worked through, or if somebody just really has a stance and it's like, no, it's going to be this way and all be all, then I don't know if they're my person because they don't want to work through something with me.
Yeah, it gotta, like G said, it gotta be a discussion. Like y'all gotta come together and talk about that and try to come to some type of compromise together. Or it's just like you just want all, because it's like if you're trying to be controlling about this thing, imagine what other stuff you're going to want to control and say, if what I say go, like that's only the beginning. That should be like red flag, flag on the play. You know, like that's the beginning.
Yeah. Now, I will say, you know, and this is a big controversial, I don't know if it's necessarily gender-based or whatever, but if I'm going to go out and a man tells me that he doesn't like what I'm wearing, then I will change. If you feel some type of way and I'm going out without you or things like that, like I will give and take on that. And I will rethink my outfit, or I'll talk about him with him. What don't you like about this?
This if you're going out without him?
Without him, like I'll change. If I'm going with him, I'm gonna be like, what do you have? Are you have an issue because people are gonna be looking at me like this? Do you think I'm showing too much chest? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, you got to go out like a nun by yourself.
But I mean, I'm not going out in no snuggie.
That bag. I need
cover that.
But some women are like, you know, that they don't care. Like they're gonna do whatever. It's my body. I can wear whatever I want. I'm not gonna let you affect that decision. I will compromise on that. I'll go change. Tell me to go change. I'm gonna go change.
Yeah. So that, I mean,
David just made a very valid point. He said they're just waiting for the moment. Guy friends are just waiting for him to say yes.
Hey, David,
and we're gonna go over today because we diving into this. Since it was broached, we're gonna dive into this today.
I shouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah, you brought up the homies. Yeah,
you brought it up. Friends of the opposite sex. I know this is way off our original topic, but we in the bonus section now. Friends of the opposite sex. Brea, let me ask you this. Let's say you're dating a guy and he goes to the gym and he comes home and he says, babe, I got a personal trainer. And you say, oh, great. That's great. You got a personal trainer. Who is it? And he show you the picture of the personal trainer, and it's like a bikini model lady that work at the gym as a trainer.
I get that picture already. That's crazy. I didn't even think bro was already open.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna feel some type of way. I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm gonna be like, how's she gonna help you get your goals? Like y'all got different bodies. You can go out and get you a man trainer who's gonna teach you how to build a man body. But
so do you feel like
is that saying that you would want him to be okay with you having a male trainer?
If he
see, there it is, that deep breath.
You gotta do something with your women parts, and he ain't got that.
If he felt uncomfortable about it, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't.
You're a real one.
It wouldn't be. I would not do it. If he felt uncomfortable about it, I would not. I will say, and I don't. You know what? It goes back to what I'm saying, but there are more male personal trainers just in that regard.
And that
personal trainer, we can't work together because my boyfriend don't want me to have a male personal trainer.
Yeah.
Wait, what was that?
Would you reach out to that personal trainer and say, I can't work with you because my boyfriend doesn't want me to have a male personal trainer?
You know, I'm going to be real honest. I wouldn't. I would make up some bullshit excuse. I wouldn't be real.
Why wouldn't you tell him the real reason?
Because I feel like if I'm going to honor my significant other feeling uncomfortable about that, like I'm not going to, I feel like in a way that's putting him in a bad light to maybe that personal trainer, or, you know, like automatically the personal trainer and others are going to think like, oh, your man's just insecure. He can't, whatever. And it's like, you know what? I don't even need to open that discussion up. I'm just going to like, it's not working out. Like I can't do it because of X, Y, and Z. And I made a decision to respect my man and like not do that I'm just gonna nip it in the bud really easily. I don't need to be like kind of talking shit on my man. Like my man said I can't or whatever. And they feel some type of way about my man. I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, you can just keep that to yourself. Yeah. When you tell your girls or other people, then it becomes like a problem. You bring other people into your shit that don't need to be in.
I feel like when I made the decision to not use that personal trainer, I made the decision based upon with my partner and how he felt, that I'm gonna honor that, and that can just stay between us, and I'm okay with it.
But if y'all broke up, you gonna go run to that trainer?
Hell yeah, I'd be knocking on that door. Like, we gotta get this revenge body in shape. Hey, I need you to have me looking like this.
Hey, sounds familiar, David.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get, and it's not even because I like I want the personal trainer to like.
You want the personal trainer? Why did it have to be that trainer though?
I don't know, because that was the question.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I picked him for a reason. Like, you know, when personal trainers I've researched in the past, I look at their clientele. What do their clientele's bodies look like? As much real as I can gather, then I picked that trainer for a reason.
Yeah,
But
you know why
I'm
you
gonna
pick the
say
trainer you don't pick.
that scenario is completely different than the guy friends scenario. I would like to make that, like, that's so different. Like,
It's a little different. It's a little different. We gonna say that for next week. We're gonna dive into that next week.
Yeah,
Because that's gonna take a whole hour. That's gonna take a whole hour.
we'll bring you and Lily and Shar.
Right, we get Shar. We might even get Geneva on here.
Yeah, I'll get
But
the whole
episode
thing.
number 10. Episode number 10.
Yeah.
gotta go big. Yeah.
All right. Well, we gonna get out of here. But before we get out of here, everybody like, subscribe, share the link for the podcast. Do any of my guests want to say anything before we get out of here today?
I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. Finally made it out of the group chat.
Made it out the group chat to the stage.
Yeah.
You got pulled out. It's like a Chris Brown concert. You got pulled out the crowd to the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the equal amount of excitement over here is that feeling. But no, I really appreciate you guys, and go Raiders. That's all I gotta say.
Oh,
He getting up on us.
hey, you can't be. I already told you it's Broncos. Let's ride.
All right.
I mean, I had a good time with y'all as usual. Brea, it's good to have you on the opposite side and out of the chat, so I can talk shit to you live, and I don't have to FaceTime you after to talk shit. But but no, it's good. I love you guys, and I'll see y'all next week. Back at it again.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great week. We'll be back with you in about 7 days. Have a good one.
Yes. See y'all later.